Hi, Richard Hunter Rice, Minerva Growth, and as usual, technology was working against me today, so I managed to cut off the beginning of this interview. So let me introduce Francesca McDowall, the founder of Elevate Coaching. So tell me more about the business. What does the business do?
Yeah, so the business primarily works in 3 different areas of coaching, and that being public speaking coaching, personal development, as well as business coaching.
Okay, amazing. So what made you get started? What made you get into this?
So I've always had a passion for helping others. I mentored for a number of years, both professionally as well as in my personal life and through my faith in church. And then when I used to work for local authority, we did a Gallup Strength Finder, and it's one of those personal assessments where they look at your natural strengths, and my top strength came out as a developer, and the perfect career was a coach. And so I decided that actually this made perfect sense. It's something that I'd already loved to do, and so let me go and get my master's degree in it and set the business up, and here we are.
Amazing. So it sounds like you had a similar sort of journey around the coaching to me, that I didn't actually ever think of myself as a coach. And then when you start looking at it, you actually realize that you're mentoring and coaching people and holding them accountable without even thinking about it.
Yeah,
Is that pretty much the same for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it almost comes so naturally that you have to almost stop doing it automatically, and because you realize that it's a very valuable skill set, and actually you want people to partner with you as they go on that journey.
Absolutely. So you touched on your background then. Come on then, give us a bit more detail about your background, what you've done since education. You obviously got a master's, which is amazing. So what else have you done in your background work-wise and everything else?
Yeah, so my undergraduate was in psychology, because I think my passion and my love for humans and understanding all things about how people think and how they behave started from a teenager. So I did my undergraduate in psychology, and then I went and did some traveling, and my main job was working for local authority as a development worker in the early years field. So really supporting childcare providers, schools and nurseries around the Ofsted standards, as well as business and sustainability. And so through that role, I learned a lot about how business works and also people's motivation for business. And actually there was a colleague who would always say to me, Fran, you can tell after the first meeting if a nursery is going to succeed or not. And what I discovered was, when I started to ask people, well, why do you want to set up a nursery? If their first response was, oh, to make loads of money, they were never going to succeed.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was because I had a passion to really help children achieve and do well and provide good quality care, that passion would drive them to succeed and overcome the hurdles in their way, really. So I spent almost 10 years working for local authority in that, in the childcare industry or a sector, over a few different roles. And then I left there in 2016 and worked for Training Kings, which was a Christian business network. So supporting those in business up and down the country for a couple of years. And
they're all very nicely linked, and there's a consistent theme there, which is amazing. I think there's a very valuable point you've just dropped out there about, if people are motivated by money, it's never going to work for them. They don't look at what's important. If you're just chasing the pound all the time, it's never going to work for people, and they just never are successful. And I see that all the time. Very, very cool. So what types of people are you working with?
So right now I work with those who run their own businesses, or those who have some sort of leadership within their companies, and people who want to just move forward and to develop. So those are the primary people that I work with. Recently, I guess more so in terms of the public speaking, it's a lot of people who are excellent at their job, but public speaking has been a really big barrier. And the first set of clients that came through were all men in their 30s, late 30s. So I kind of did a little bit of demographic work, and I feel like sometimes perhaps I never had the opportunity to really get feedback and also to understand some of the underlying principles about being an effective communicator in a public arena.
That's really interesting. I don't think there's many people out there who are comfortable and naturally good at public speaking anyway. And I think you never get taught it. And it's something I worked with a public speaking coach a couple of years ago, and it literally was a game changer for me. I don't think I'm perfect at it in any way at all. And there's always areas we can grow and develop ourselves. But I just think a lot of people are very uncomfortable with doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's almost like you're in the spotlight and there's nowhere to hide. And if you make a mistake, you've got to be able to recover and still deliver a really effective message.
So do you ever get scared about public speaking? Have you always been good at, you're very, very naturally just very natural public speaker. I've said this to you before, just the way you are, and I think you're very warm. That comes across all the time. Has that always been the case for you? Is something you've had to work on yourself?
So I think the first thing for me is that I love communicating, and so I love speaking, and therefore because I enjoy it already, I think I do put a certain amount of passion into it, and I do work at it as well. So I've attended a lot of public speaking training, had coaching myself to really learn to perfect the art. And again, I say perfect, but I'm in no way perfect. I think everyone's still growing as well. So I've been doing weekly live videos for the last 2.5 years. And when I started, I was just okay. And I've definitely grown over the years because I've just become a lot more comfortable and relaxed in it. And I'm no longer overly concerned or scared if I make a mistake. I just go with the flow.
So have you been doing daily lives or weekly? How long, you mentioned then, what's that look
Yeah.
like?
So weekly, so once a week on a Monday morning, I do
Okay.
Monday Moments with Fran, which is an encouraging video. And yeah, it goes on Facebook Live, and then I just upload it to YouTube.
Amazing. And they're very, very good. I do catch them from time to time and they're very, very powerful. So you mentioned about the businesses at the beginning as well. What type of businesses or what size of businesses are you working with or interested in working with more?
So the size of the businesses are normally, I would say, quite small to medium, so less than 100 employees, unless I'm working with one employee and then it's a different organization. So last year I coached a lady who actually worked for a museum. So I went into her workplace and we did some sessions together as well. But primarily it's those who have got small to medium sized businesses.
That's very cool. So what impact does your business have on your clients?
People get things done fast. I think that's one of the key messages that people tell me back, in terms of, we worked together the first week, by the second week they've started to see tangible changes and results, because a lot of times people already know what they need to do, but they don't necessarily have a strategy, a structure to get it done, or they just need a bit of confidence building to really get things done. So I've had people, just things that have been sat on their desks to do for months, get them done. I've also had people around their personal development who've had promotions at work, they've gotten into their ideal careers, and it's impacted other areas of their life as well, which they didn't necessarily plan on that being a result. But I think when you start to invest in yourself, it has a knock-on effect. So before you know it, your family life is better because you feel better, you're more confident, you're more secure, and so the knock-on effect just goes on.
I'm sat here grinning from ear to ear, nodding at you because absolutely all day long, I love what you say, and it's absolutely the same thing for me. The funny thing is, we're both business coaches, but we are so different in the way we are, the kind of people we work with. That's why it's such an amazing relationship, and it just fits so well. You know, we both look at very different things, but actually, the common denominator, everything you talk about there, is the stuff that I see and resonates with me all the time. People just take action, people get results. People need that accountability, and it just makes them focus on those stuff and achieving great stuff. That's amazing. I love it. Wicked. Okay, so more about you then. What drives and motivates you?
So my big why is to inspire people to move and to find their purpose. And so I do feel like one of my purposes is to help people discover their purpose and their passion, and move and grow into it. And so sometimes that can be a difficult conversation about, so the job that you're doing, is it really what you were born to do? Is it what you were created to do? So that is what drives me, seeing other people move forward and really flourish and bloom and become what it is that they were meant to, because I do love helping people. And as much as it might sound a little bit cheesy, you know, you just can't help it. And so I have that same thing where I'm grinning from ear to ear when a client will feed back to me that, Fran, you know, we did this and the difference it's made, and it just definitely brings me a lot of joy.
You
So
don't have to excuse that, because your passion for people comes across loud and clear. You can feel it coming across this on the Zoom call, you know, we're on Facebook Live as well, but it's just absolutely loud and clear. So, what's happened? What have you seen with the marketplace with COVID, and how has it affected you and your clients? You know, what are you seeing right now? Are you seeing it starting to pick up a little bit, or, you know, can you maybe talk around COVID and how it's affected you, your clients, and where you can see it's moving to now?
sure. So COVID has affected my business quite a lot, because prior to lockdown in the UK, I was consulting with a charity as well as I was doing some schools work, and that was all put on hold and in effect stopped. So it's been great because it's given me time to really focus on, you know, the one-to-one clients and building those areas as well. And so in other ways, I think for some clients, I've had to be more supportive and even alter some of the sessions. So perhaps see them more frequently and check in more regularly just to support them through this incredibly challenging time, and help them to know that, you know, their goals are still valid. It doesn't matter if things can't move at the same speed. As long as you're making some movement, it's absolutely still really, really important. So lockdown's been interesting. I've had lots of time to reflect as well. I've managed to start some writing projects that I'm really excited about. I've collaborated with people. I've been to one of your BNIs, and there was a lady from, I think, San Francisco. And so I do think to some extent in the business world, it's opened doors of opportunities that we wouldn't have found otherwise, because we've been given space and time to do that.
Absolutely. I think there's so many opportunities out there, you can either bury yourself in the sand for 3 months and just wait for everything. I appreciate it's not the same for everyone, but actually, if you keep your head above the sand and look at what's going on, it's also opened so many doors. And if you can operate, you're not limited to a location. You can operate anywhere globally. Then it's a huge marketplace out there for you. That's really, really interesting. What about for your clients? Are you seeing your clients are starting to pick up and start gaining pace now, or?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm just having more inquiries come through and more clients as well. And I think for some people, because they've now decided or they've made some changes as well, again, it's been an opportune time to really reflect on, what do I really want? What do I really want for the next few months of my life, for the next few years? Because, when you're working and you've got family and responsibilities, life can be pretty much, you're on this treadmill, aren't you? And you're going and going and going. And I think what COVID has done is just made everything and everybody stop. And again, maybe some changes need to be made for some people.
Absolutely. A couple of points you raised there then, that coaching. And I think the one thing I've seen is that people who were maybe sitting on the fence thinking about coaching, actually it's made them realize, oh my God, I really need this. Let's get on with it. And, everyone needs coaches. We've already both admitted them. We've had speaking coaching and whatever else, business coaches I work with all the time, and all different sorts of coaching as well. So everyone needs a coach. And I think it's really home people need to think about that and how they can make themselves better. As coaches, we tend to talk about the Tiger Woods story all the time, when he typically has 15 to 20 coaches at any one time, covering every single 360-degree version of his life, from business to finance to, golf itself, to everything at all. We all need coaches. And then what's quite interesting is that COVID's giving you that bit of more time. So you've been working on your business as opposed to working in your business. That time to really reflect and plan and strategize to where business is going to go as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that, I'm so grateful, because now I know what the next couple of years are going to look like. I've recently started working with a new coach to really amplify things, because again, as coaches, we don't just want to be saying to people, come and get coaching. But like you said, we have to almost be that same example for ourselves, because we understand the power of it. So yeah, it's definitely been a really helpful time.
So my next question was going to be, you've just dropped on that quite nicely. What's next for the business?
So
where's it going to go?
Yeah, so I'm actually really excited. I'm currently building a membership platform, because to give people the opportunity to come and work with myself at Elevate, find out more about what we do, and also just to see the value of some of the strategies, some of the new ways of thinking and the new ways of being and behaving, and how it can really transform your life. So that's something that I'm working on over the next few months, and as well as some books that are going to be coming out real soon. So
that's not just one, that's some books. It's like a whole series of books coming out then.
Yeah, I've got a couple of books coming out. So I'm collaborating with a colleague, and we're working on a book around public speaking. And then I also co-founded Inspire, her women's empowerment and transformation program. And so myself and my other co-founder, we've also written a book, and they're currently with the publishers.
That's wicked. Well done. That's amazing. Okay, so if people want to know more, I hope you've inspired people joining in and watching this live now, or watching the recordings later. How can anyone get any further information about you or the businesses and get involved?
So I'm coming across on social media. So I'm on Instagram as @fran.elevate. And I've got a Facebook page, which is Francesca McDowall /Elevate Coaching, or my website, which is elevatecoaching.org.uk.
Fantastic. And I'll put the links into the notes after we finish this as well, so people have got them there just so they can reach out. And I hope you've inspired people now to check out some more. So any final quick tips you can give out to people out there, whether on business coaching or public speaking, any quick tips and tricks you can give to people before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think I would just really encourage people to start, to stop waiting for things to be perfect, or stop waiting for things to slot in place, and just start. You know, it could be one video that lasts 1 minute that you share something very simple, but it's just a start, which is almost the hardest thing to do. But once you've done it, you are on your way. So just start whatever it is that's been burning in your heart to do, that won't leave you, you keep being reminded of, just get on with it.
Amazing. That's really, really cool. Thank you so much. There's so much knowledge you've just dropped into that, 20-odd minute conversation. Very, very powerful. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us today. As I say, I'll put everyone's details in there so they can track you out and hear more about your story as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Not a problem at all. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.